This is the Flight of the Next podcast in association with the BFG Podcast. On today's show, we have Jesse from the Flight of the Next along with Denise and I, and we have Nell from the 1975 Football Fern team. Welcome, Nell. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
And a pleasure to be here.
So, Denise, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, we got a player. So describe yourself as a footballer in 3 words.
A no-nonsense player.
No nonsense player. That is 3 words.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by no nonsense?
Well, the thing is, when I tackle hard. And I play hard. I play fair. Never had a yellow card, never had a red card.
Wow. And so what position did you play?
In the football ferns, I played centre back. Normally, I would have been playing in the midfield.
Ah, okay, cool. Hey, Blake, you have any questions?
So, I want to start by asking you a bit about yourself. So can you please start by telling me a bit about yourself?
Okay. I come from Holland. We immigrated in 1973 to New Zealand. We went to stay with an aunt and an uncle in Potaroo, who had promised my parents a lot of things. Didn't work out. So a fortnight later, my father hired a bus and we drove down to Palmerston North. There was 2 families that had arrived. We ended up at the Awapuni nurseries in Palmerston North. Within a week, the ones that needed work got work. I ended up in a school where I met a fellow teammate in the end that also played for the Ferns, Marianne Paul.
Yeah.
So my career, I played for Palmerston North Saints. From there, we represented Wellington in national tournaments. I decided to move to Auckland for a while. I didn't like it, so quickly came down to Wellington, played for Miramar Rangers, played for Island Bay, coached junior teams, coached men, done it all.
Well, okay, set the stage. So that was 1973, probably through at least 1975. Set the stage of 1975. I mean, you're a 1975er. You are an original football fern. How did all that come about?
I don't exactly how it all came about. I know that Dave Farrington, Marilyn Marshall, and Debbie Chapman, they went up to a meeting up in Auckland with Roy Cox and Barbara Cox, but I don't know the intricate details. But at that stage, we were already playing rep football, so there was always a big competition between Auckland and Wellington. Wellington won the majority of the games in those days. And all of a sudden, we got letters in the mail to say that we were picked for the New Zealand team to go and play in an Asian Cup in Hong Kong. Oh, wow. With it came the drills that you had to do because we were scattered all over the country. So for me, living in a small town like Foxton, there was just me and my dog and my father. And my father used to stand in goal for me till his hand got sore. So that's when the dog took over to be the goalkeeper. And from there, we ended up having training sessions down in Wellington, the ones that came from Palmerston North and Wellington. And then all of a sudden we had to be off on a plane and away we went. It was just a team put together with players that had played rep football. And that was us. We went there and we won.
Okay, so we're all just listening. Blake, Jesse, you want to ask the big question? Tell us about the Asian Cup kind of question. Want to make sure you guys get in here because this is so fun.
Yeah. The Asian Cup, it was very hot and muggy in Hong Kong. It was horrible. Where you see the Sevens playing nowadays, that's the stadium we played in. It wasn't as big as what it looked now. Gosh, do I remember all the teams that we played? We played Australia, Malaysia. God, this is disgusting that I don't remember it.
It was a long time ago to be
Come on,
fair.
at least you've got it in front of you.
I feel like I know who you played in the final, right?
Well, we played Thailand in the final, and that was
Wait, before we get into it, how did you guys feel? Like, what were the feelings on the team?
I think we were all in awe to all of a sudden, be picked for an international side. Especially, say, for instance, well, for me, it was, like here I came from Holland, a footballing nation. In those days, I used to play in amongst the boys because there were no women's teams yet, and basically it got to a point where the boys said, you want to keep on playing for us, you've got to put up with what's coming your way. I did. Simple as that. And when my parents decided to immigrate, I wasn't a happy child. Because at the time I was 16, and I had plans. I wanted to become a professional football player.
Wow. Really? 1975? You wanted to become and you wanted to do it in Holland?
The thing is, realistically, it would have been lovely to be able to do it in Holland and wear the orange colours. But my mum and I were very close, and I could imagine me going back to Holland every day. I would get a phone call saying, "When are you coming home?" Mm. So that wasn't going to happen. So instead, I got picked for a New Zealand team, and it was. Words can't really describe it when you get to that point. It's overawing. I think, and especially in those days, not a lot of that was happening. So for women to make national sides was just absolutely amazing. And can I think of the right word how to describe it? No, I can't.
Yeah. And you're not the only one that says that. Even people who are playing the game now.
Yeah.
So, to be at the pinnacle of a sport,
yeah,
especially like football, it is undescribable, and it's a great feeling for a lot of these athletes. I mean, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, as you say, it's undescribable. And the thing is, like not so long ago, I met up with the Ferns up in Auckland with the trophy and things like that. And they said, you got any advice? I said, look, I can be person full advice. I said, but enjoy it. Make the most of it while you're young. Get careers in it, because I am so jealous of you. That's amazing. There were no words to describe how I feel and how lucky you guys are to play the sport that I started when I was in my mother's womb, because I was already kicking then, to be able to earn money through it. It's just, it's just total jealousy as far as I'm concerned. And I told them, I was honest with them.
That's great. So bring us back to 1975. So you've made it through whatever was the equivalent. Was it do you even remember? Was it like, were there groups, or was it just a straight up through the knockouts?
No. There were groups. I can't remember how many teams were there. I should have done my homework, hey? You didn't tell me to do my homework. I think there were two groups, and that eventually got to semi-finals and things like that. So we had the joy of meeting Thailand in the final. We heard through the grapevine that they put a hoodoo on the pitch, and apparently they peed in the bottle and spread it in the goal mouth.
Whoa.
Wait, say it again slowly for Americans. They put a what on the pitch and the pee in the bottle?
They put a hoodoo.
I don't know what that means.
A voodoo.
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 Word for a curse.
How you want to pronounce it?
And hoodoo is another word for a curse.
Yeah, a curse.
Yeah.
And and we heard through the grapevine that they urinated into a bottle and spread it in the goal mouth.
Whoa.
But it didn't work.
So that didn't affect you during the match, I hope.
No, it didn't do a heck of a lot for us whatsoever. We were out there and we were determined that, we wanted to win, and that was our backbone of the whole game, is that we were a bunch of winners and we took no passengers. They were a hard team to play against. They're basically, most of the Thailand girls belonged to the army. So they were tough nuts.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if they tackled hard, and I mean they tackled hard. But yeah, we were just as hard, and just put 3 in the back of the net.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell us what happened after the match.
After the match, so we get given our trophy, and you go for your victory lap, and all of a sudden these things come flying out of the crowd. Apples, fruit, you name it, because they gamble. Anything that moves over there gets gambled on. And so we got bombarded, and we got hauled into the changing rooms, and
Wow.
just left there for a little while, and we got changed, and then we got on the bus. And once we sat on the bus, we got pelted again, and we weren't sure what was being pelted at us in the bus. So we all got told to lie on the floor of the bus, and then we drove off.
Wait, what country was this?
Hong Kong.
They pelted you with fruit because they were so mad because they bet on Thailand to win?
Yep. Like who was little New Zealand to come out the winners? But we did it. And the thing is, like there was, the coach was fantastic. I have never had a coach that used to make me nervous, but Dave Farrington did. He had this gentle demeanour about him that, he made very much a point how he wanted you to play, but it was always done very nicely. And if you didn't play well, you got told off very nicely. But yeah, like he was a fantastic coach. And I think in amongst the team, even though, half of it was Wellington players, half of it was Auckland players, we were blended as a team through his ability as a coach. And the performance came out on the pitch.
Yeah, I can see him. I'm looking at his photo in the on Twitter now. Yeah. So tell me more about your teammates.
About my teammates. Like, what do you want to know about them?
Oh, who is? You seem like you were probably one of the toughest. Who's the funniest?
It would have been the funniest. Why would I be the toughest? I think we were all pretty tough once we were on the pitch. I think we were all tough when we were on the pitch.
Yeah.
Who was the funniest in the team? I don't know.
All right. Well, then who went to battle? Whose game face changed?
All of us.
Yeah.
All of us. Absolutely all of us. If you ask Carol Knox, who used to say, oh, you're the front person of our team. I was blonde, a good body at the time, not like it is now. I had gazillions of pictures taken of me, and they'd come up and touch you here. And I had the joy of being driven around in the limousine with Veronica Cho. I don't know why, to this day, why I was picked to travel with this woman that ran the Hong Kong Association.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, but hey, I was fine traveling in a limousine. It was good. But no, I think players-wise, the whole team, we all knew we were there to do a job. And that was our main focus.
Blake, Jesse, you want to jump in with some questions?
And Jesse, if you do, just push that button again that you pushed before. But I'll jump in the meantime. So I tend to jump around a bit. So how insecure this interview was, Denise, or you at the trophy tour that's going on at the moment at the time of this recording for the 2023 World Cup. So what's your opinion on the current crop? because there's some very talented players, and we've had the pleasure of interviewing many of them.
Having met them up in Auckland was great. Those girls were fantastic. I think there are some very good players there. I'm not going to mention names, but I think there's also some that shouldn't be there. You have to pick a player on ability, skill, willpower, wanting to win. So yeah, but like you mentioned Paige Satchel before. While I was up there, I had a wee chat to Paige, and I told her she annoyed the living daylights out of me at times. I didn't say it in those words, but I'll be nice on the thing. And I said, why don't you shoot at goal? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, you've got all the speed in the world. I said, you can beat any player. I said, and then when you get past them, you go, what am I supposed to do now? I said, look up. I said, you can see those 3 sticks. I said, have a go at it. I said, because in the end, the rest of the team should be backing you up to try and put it in the back of the net. I said, because that's the aim of the game. I said, it's getting the ball in the back of the net. I said, New Zealand team just hasn't got enough shots on goal. I think they can do quite well. I think they can probably, if their mindset is right, get through to the next round. But it's all down to them getting their mindset right and not show any respect to their opposition, because that of the games that we've seen, and a lot of people probably say, like New Zealand has lost so many games. Yes, they have. But what they've also got to remember is they didn't have their full squad there. The players, they're professional, were still playing with their teams overseas, and et cetera, et cetera. Those players are now back with the team. But for me, your first tackle is your best tackle, your hardest. Letting the opposition know, I'm here to win. So next time you dribble at me, take your pick. Do you want me to tackle you, or are you going to pass the ball? They pass the ball, we've got to be in there to get the ball.
And do you think having a professional team in the Wellington Phoenix kind of helps a bit with the growth, with the having the World Cup here, the growth of the game, and et cetera, et cetera?
Oh, absolutely. It's probably years too late. It's probably years too late having a professional team. Things, when it comes to women's football, I think are a bit on a go slow and dead stop at times. And I'd like to think with the World Cup being here now, a lot of people are starting to open their eyes, especially at the top. And do a bit more for women's football, because the thing is, the country itself, it doesn't know what it's going to hit it. And they've got no idea. Through the grapevine, I heard there's 40,000 Americans coming. Hello? And that's only of one team. There's 15 teams coming to New Zealand.
Right. Finally, for me in this section, do you think having and being able to go and watch it yourself, having a long training camp that Yikas had the ability to have, do you think that'll be an advantage for us over some of the other teams having our home comforts and everything? And most of them are training in their, away or in their own base, in their given bases or whatever.
I'll say that again. So Yikas had a longer training camp. Is that what you're saying, Blake? And
yeah.
How do you feel about a long training camp?
For our players?
Yep.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Like that way you get to know each other. The more you train together, the more you become a team. You start to understand, because nobody can teach a player how to read a game. That's got to come naturally. If you can't read a game, then you got half of your ability missing. And I think the longer training camps that they have, the better. And even the youngsters that have now been dropped off the team, don't get demoralised by it. You've had a taste. build on it. Build on what your abilities are, because you don't get picked for a New Zealand team to come into training camp because you haven't got an ability, because then I've got to say, well, what are the coaches doing? There's a reason why you're in that training camp. They see something, they see potential in you, and you've got to build on that as a player yourself. You can't just go to training every day. You've got to do a lot of work on your own as well, to enhance all your capabilities in the game.
I love this sort of killer instinct. It's actually quite refreshing. I mean, the younger generation is a bit more bubbly, a bit more sort of, vibey kind of thing. You're like,
well, as a coach, I was a tough coach. I would not get away with how I coached today.
Yeah.
If you needed telling off, you got it in no uncertain terms. There was just no holding back. And at times players didn't like it, but a lot of them have achieved where they got now.
Yeah. There's telling off, and then there's doing unethical things. It sounds like you were pretty fair and honest. Yeah. I mean, anything I know about Dutch people is they are honest and direct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't cut corners.
Jessie, do you have any questions?
Oh, wrong way.
Well, we'll wait for Jessie to figure out how to unmute herself. How are you feeling about the Dutch coming to New Zealand?
Oh, overly excited. Overly excited. Yeah, would love to meet them.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Neat.
Yeah, I met.
Okay.
It's back.
Yeah, I met the previous Dutch coach, the female that coaches England, and that was really nice meeting her.
Yeah. Vera Paul. Yeah, Vera Paul. Yeah, she's bringing an Irish team with her. Actually, she's that are going to be extremely excited to be playing at the World Cup. I think they're playing over in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Jessie, your first question on the Flight of the Next podcast. Let's bring it.
My first question is a random question. You didn't get did you get that national anthem played back in those days?
Yes, we did.
Oh, you did get it? I wondered if you would have, because I thought, it's like ages ago, so they might not have done it.
Yeah, they did play the national anthem. Probably for me, I didn't know the words, because I don't know. I've been in New Zealand for a couple of years. But yeah, it gives you chills. It gives you chills down your spine, and I think often I watch teams, international teams, and I see players there. Maybe because they belong to a different country. I still believe if you're picked for that national side, you need to know the words. And I tried my damnedest while I was there, but
Was there a national anthem for every game, like the six?
Yeah, I asked me to remember some 48 years ago. Yeah. To be really honest with you, I don't remember. I don't.
No, that's cool. But you got to sing it once, though.
Yeah,
that's cool. I thought they might not have had one. I thought they've been sad, but I'm glad you got to sing it.
Well, the thing is, surely any international side needs to give their national anthem, don't they?
Yeah, no, they should. I just was checking. I thought hopefully. Did you get strips and shirts with your name on it, or did you have to buy their own strips, or did
we had a real sexy strip? It was made out of crimpolene. It was awful. Crimpolene. It's horrible material. No, we didn't have our names on it. These were quickly sewn together by a lady up in Auckland. I had a number 5 on my back, and that was about it. Did we get to keep the uniform? No, we all had to give it back. The only uniform that we were allowed to keep was our travel uniform. And it was made out of crimpolene as well. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And I had it hanging in my cupboard for a very long time, and I looked at it and I went, I will never wear that. So I took the emblem off and the rest went.
Oh, so you throw it out.
It was awful. You've never ever seen anything so disgusting.
Oh, bugger. It's sad. I think you would have been able to keep it for the rest of it and have it on the wall or something.
If you look at the photo of us in 1975, you look at the sandals that we're wearing, they were probably warehouse jobbies.
Looking at it right now. Nice pantsuits, though.
Yeah. The skirts and the top with it, we had pants with it as well, but no, we had to wear the skirts. It was awful. It was horrible, absolutely horrible material.
Yeah. Oh. And did you have did your soccer boots you didn't have to wear men's ones? Like, did you find some that fitted all your feet?
Well, I was lucky. I brought my ones back from Holland.
Yeah. Oh,
and that was my
nice.
Because I've always loved Puma, so I'm over the Puma sponsoring us. And back home in Holland, you can get a size boot to fit your feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was 36D because I've got a wider foot but a small foot. And they used to hug my feet like they should.
Yeah, nice. That's good. And others weren't so lucky?
Possibly the ones here in New Zealand, because if you go further down the track where, the later teams played, they often went, oh, well, if we go overseas, we're going to go straight to the shop, buy shoes, buy boots, everything that's going to fit us.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they always got the hand-me-downs off the men's teams, like some of the players looked like they were wearing dresses underneath their shorts.
Yeah. Oh. How times have changed.
Yes. But the thing is, there's still a lot of changes that have to be made. Women's sport is going to have to go much higher standards than what they are now, and that's got to come from the top.
Yeah. Say more about that. Like, where do you think things are lacking? Like,
say televising is one. We don't see enough of it on TV. Newspapers, you don't see a lot of it. Apparently the team here in Taupo is top of their league. To this day, I've still got to see anything in the newspaper about it. There's nothing there, which is sad. Say, for instance, the trophy coming to Taupo. A little ad that size let us know that the trophy was coming. If it wasn't in regards to a friend of mine telling me about it, I wouldn't have known.
I guess the perception is everything has to go on social media now, and I don't necessarily think that's true anymore, because there's still a generation around that uses the older fashioned stuff like the newspaper and that. So they should still be thinking about that generation for a bit longer anyway. The perception that it should be always social media is effortlessly wrong, because there's so many resources that you can use out there, but they're not being used. Would you like to comment further on that, Denise?
Yeah, I mean, so tell us, being a female footballer obviously is frustrating in its own journey in itself, and even when things are going right. Tell us, like, there's a bit out there that the 1975ers weren't acknowledged, and like, it had to be Puma that kind of picked y'all up and give you this beautiful spot, and tell us about what Puma's doing, and the feelings around the team. One of the things that is frustrating for me is that older women can be forgotten. That there is this thing that once you hit a certain age or grace, that you're no longer as celebrated. And you were one of the original football ferns. I mean, if I were I were New Zealand football, I would like put you on a trophy and march you everywhere, and just, give a sense that there's history here and there's attitude and, the sense of the competitive that is that you're bringing, to the spotlight even right now is amazing. So just, I said a bunch of things, but tell us about Puma, tell us about the Federation. And
well, let's go back to, say, for instance, when we came back from the Asian Cup.
Yep.
We won the Cup, and we arrived back in New Zealand. There was nobody there to meet us, absolutely nobody. And then there was somebody that put an article in the newspaper, and they go something to the effect of our Cinderellas won the trophy. Now, when we're on the pitch, we're no Cinderellas, none whatsoever. So, it was really frustrating reading that. We have had quite a few things organised with NZFA where we've been invited to come to, say, All Whites game, and we can go up into the big box and drink as much as we like and eat as much as we like, which is appreciated. But the appreciation that we want is that we get acknowledged that we the first team to win a trophy wearing the silver fern. And I have approached Andrew Pregnell quite a few times now. Every time I see him, I'll have a go at him. And I asked him, what are you going to do for us of the 75ers? So in the end, he asked me one time, what do you want? I said, I want a cap. So he says, oh. So anyway, bit of bantering went back and forth and things like that. And then I got a letter in the email that said, by the sounds of it, the people want caps and blah, blah, blah. And, well, if we see you, we can give you a cap. And if you're not there, we can send it to you through the mail. And I went, really? So I wrote them back again. And I said, you are joking, hey? I said, surely by now, after 48 years of work, you can organise a proper ceremony for us to receive our caps with the whole team present. I said, rather than a few here and a few there. I said, not everybody's going to come up to these, corporate boxes and drink up large and eat up large. The camaraderie amongst football ferns with Puma bringing us together is just amazing. So basically, I don't know how it started, but Barbara Cox wrote a email to us and said that Puma was going to be involved. So we sat back and we waited, let's see if this is actually going to eventuate. Next, we get told that we're going up to Auckland and we're having a photo shoot. So everybody was sent up to Auckland, not all at the same time. There were the separate groups, of course. So you had the lot from Wellington, you had the lot from Palmerston North that had to come up. You had the Aucklanders that were already there. And they also tried to get some of the girls that now live in Australia to come over, but they couldn't. And we had this photo shoot, and we had a ball. We had an absolute ball. We had photos taken, we had videos taken of us, etc., etc. There's a video coming out very shortly, but due to Nora passing away, they're holding off showing it. Till we hear from the family that it's okay to go for it, that's when it will be shown. So the photos are starting to come out now. And basically, Puma is providing us with a tracksuit, a full strip, socks, sand shoes, boots. They are flying us to Australia on the 20th of July to be present with the 75 Australian team at the Australian game, Australia versus Ireland. We've all got our own king-size unit. We have got a private boat to take us to Peacock Island. And it's just overawing what they're doing. There's times we have got no words, and at the end of the photo shoot, we were all given a letter by the CEO of Puma, and that is what we should be getting from the NZFA. And we're still waiting.
Goosebumps.
Oh, good on you.
I find it.
Which is sad.
Oh, sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, go.
I find it incredibly disappointing, but that Mr. Fagnall wouldn't recognise you, but I'm delighted that Puma will. And I just wish that Mr. Fagnall would do the same.
Well, he's hoping. That they come to their senses. And the thing is, it shouldn't just happen for the 75ers. There's a group that ended up in the early 80s and things like that. They're all retiring now. And we all should be having this little pedestal to stand on and say, I was a football fern.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, what a waste of not having this wisdom and knowledge passed down. I mean, that's one of the greatness of my U.S. women's national team. You can tell by my accent, is that they pass down the expectations, they pass down the knowledge, they pass down the confidence.
Yeah.
And that is, at the very least, something that our current football ferns need to have a stream running through them around this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that when they showed the trophy in Taupo, I was talking to the lady from Hamilton, and what they are doing is getting some of these, they're getting different ages to speak to the younger generation in regards to football. And I think Michaela Foster was one of them that was going to be speaking at that one. Who was a young'un? Like what? How old is she? Early 20s, late teens, which I think is fantastic. But why didn't they do that in our time? We all still have got a lot to give back to the game. I believe for myself, I gave a fair bit back. I copped a lot of disgusting things, especially from an ex-all-white, whom I shall not mention, but he should be. Being spat in the face and things like that was disgusting. And that, in the end, stopped me from enjoying football. But the itch is coming back with this World Cup coming into New Zealand, and I might do something about it again.
Well, I hope you do.
Are you
Go ahead, Jessie, go ahead.
are you getting some tickets to go to the opening game in Auckland as a team?
No.
You are to the other two games if you wanted to, But are you or not? I think I read somewhere.
We are not being given any tickets.
Haven't been given any.
No. The tickets that we have got are the ones that we bought ourselves.
Well, that is true.
Sucks. Yeah. The word is called sucks.
Yeah, I had this. I said to Denise last night. I sent in a message and I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing? They wouldn't, if they can't give you tickets, then they wouldn't do this." But I was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if you you guys as a team could, ladies as a team could go out on the field at the Auckland the opening, like with the team now, and walk on with them and go and stand behind them and hear the national anthem." But if they can't even give you tickets.
Well, unfortunately, it couldn't happen now because we're all on a plane over to Australia to watch the opening game of Australia versus Ireland.
I'm so glad Puma's done that for you. At least they've done that. It'll be amazing.
Yeah. You know, and it was very hard being at the trophy up in Auckland because all the girls would ask you, have you got your ticket for the game?
Yeah.
And Scotty and I had discussed it. She says, what did we say? I said, well, we've got tickets. We have got our tickets to go to the game. So we said, just say, I've got my ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we couldn't talk about the Puma thing. We weren't allowed to talk about the Puma thing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the cat's out of the bag now, so now we can talk about it and all the things that are being done for us.
How did you feel? So this is the last question about the Puma thing. How did you feel, Rick? Because I saw those video clips of you reading the letters.
Yeah.
So did you all get to read one at the same time, sort of thing from Puma and sort of digest, or was it sort of?
Well, I was with another person, and I had already sort of started glancing across that letter. And I said to her, I said, you can read it. I said, because I won't get to the end.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one to watch and not, have some faucets going out of your eyes, and definitely put it in the show notes.
It was incredibly moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, one day one of us will probably post that letter online.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you emotional. Very cool letter.
Take your time.
Most of us have put it in a frame.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, mine's hanging in the lounge.
Nice.
Well, I'm a local girl. I'd love to take a look at it and post it online for you if you wanted it online, because it's incredibly important. And, if you don't honor your history, I mean, you're just a little bit lost. And I feel that with the football ferns. They're just a little bit lost with and we all want the best for them going in. But if they knew they had generations of women who will touch their shoulder and say, I believe in you, and you go get it, and you go tackle hard, and you play fair, but play as hard, you got this, 6 million people watching you. It might make a difference, and it might make a difference to their soul too, and to the fan soul to see that as well. I mean, how many women played football and, had obstacles thrown at them, or people tell them, no, you shouldn't go into the business of coaching or this or that or whatever, because you're a woman. And that's frustrating. And, we still feel the wounds of that and the scars of that. And people might not, a lot of, there is a certain amount going on in the game that is positive, but there's some echoes of really some, things that were not good.
But should be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's not how it is today. And I told Andrew Pragnell straight to his face, I said, haven't you realised, I said, women are about to take over the world. We are. Bloody hell. There's a lot more of us than there is males.
I think there's something fun to the women's game that is unique to the sport. And what we've seen over the Flight of the Knicks podcast is that these female players have something new to bring. That there's an honesty to what they do, and there's an openness, and there's a togetherness that the game has and makes it special.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad in the women's game that we don't have the Hollywoods like you have in the men's game, like they get touched and they roll around as if they're saying they're dying and things like that. The girls get a knock and they go, ow, and they hobble a bit and they get up and they carry on and, till they really get knocked down.
Yeah, there's some tough ones on the Fern. I mean, I wouldn't want to go against Betsy Hassett or there's some really tough ones.
I don't think the public realise that, we're not softies. You know, we play the game with plenty of aggression, but not nastiness. And it's one of the best games a woman can play. You know, like, I'm not knocking any other sport, but for me, football has always been one part of my life where I could release frustration, aggression, but still do it in a nice way. You know, you were pissed off about something, you go, I'm going to go in for a good hard tackle there. Bam. But it was fair. As I said, I've never had a card in my life.
That's great. All right. What do you say? Anything else, or
Shall I bring it home?
bring it home, Blake? And one more thing now, you know, we're going to be watching some of these World Cup matches. We'd love to have you, you know, come back and, you know, see what you think of some of these matches. You're refreshingly honest.
Am I being allowed to? Yeah, as I said, am I allowed to be honest?
Yeah, you're allowed to be totally honest.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way anyway.
That's it. All right, Blake, bring us home.
So,
Sorry, I was going to say thank you so much for being on the. Blake will say it too, but I just wanted to say from me, thank you for being on it, and I'm glad Puma have done that, and yeah, enjoy the World Cup, even though you couldn't be in one as such. Enjoy watching the games. Okay, that's it.
So yeah, as Jessie said, thank you for coming on the program, and like and subscribe this video on YouTube. Follow us on all our social medias, and you can also listen to this on your favorite audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, and places like that. And we'll see you on the next one.